Welcome to Sleepless Readings. Tonight we'll be reading a tale called There's Something Inside My Mother.
I was 9 years old when Mother first felt them. I woke to her standing over me in bed, hands pressed firmly against her stomach and fingers pushing little dents into her perfectly smooth skin. She looked at the ceiling as she spoke, the whites of her eyes veiny and visible in the darkness.
"Don't tell Father," she said, "but I think there's something in here."
When I was 11 years old, I watched from the doorway as she writhed her sweating body on the cold, hard tiles of the bathroom floor, blunt fingernails scratching at her abdomen in desperation.
"They're inside me," she'd cry. "I can feel them."
Father grabbed at her flailing arms and held tightly, knuckles strained white, and dragged her across the hallway carpet and into their bedroom. She kicked so hard one of her socks came off. I picked it up. He taught me how to tie a tie wrap that day. One on each wrist, he said, but not too tight. They click when you pull them. That's how you know they're safe. Then we watched Mother for a minute, an hour, until the sun set, as she looked up at the ceiling, the whites of her eyes veiny and visible in the darkness. I was 12 years old when Father told the school we were moving away. He needed me to help him keep Mother from making her insides into outsides, so I had to stay home now. I didn't mind, not much. We took it in turns to feed her and wash her and watch her, and sometimes she'd let me brush her hair. Sometimes she'd ask me to cut her open while she looked at the ceiling, the whites of her eyes veiny and visible in the darkness. I was 13 years old when I found her again, writhing and clawing and scratching as she did. Father had become an expert at holding Mother down, although he struggled to touch her wrists. Now he flinched to himself as he felt the swollen, angry flesh split by restraints. I shuddered. Mother didn't notice, though. Instead, she begged him to open her up, to slice her from throat to stomach, and pull them out of her before it was too late. After that, he put a lock on their bedroom door. Restraints weren't enough anymore, he told me. We needed to do more to keep her safe, he said. I was 14 the first time I smelled blood. I mean, really smelled it. The bed was wet with red, dripping, thick, sticky drops on the hardwood floor. Drip, drip, drip. Father said it was infected. The hole Mother had picked into her sternum. That was why it was so gooey. Why there was so much leakage. I wiped it up with kitchen towels while Father cleaned up Mother's hole. I managed a quick look, just a little peep before he covered it, but I didn't see any of them in there. That night, when she looked at the ceiling, the whites of her eyes veiny and visible in the darkness, she whispered to herself,
"I can feel you," she said. "I can hear you."
I was 16 when Mother emptied herself. I found her split from neck to groin, one hand free and inside her, pulling at her organs. She squeezed at her intestines, tearing holes in them to shove her fingers inside, searching.
"Look," she said. "Come look, Marie."
So I did.
"Can you see?"
she asked. I shook my head.
They're in here,"
she gurgled, blood coming from her mouth. She still had the plastic fork from dinner gripped in her hand, now in sharp shards made by her for easy gouging.
"There,"
she gasped before poking her fingers deep inside the gore. I could see something moving, wiggling. She smiled brightly, the red oozing from between her yellow teeth, and she looked at the ceiling, the whites of her eyes veiny and visible.
"There you are."
And then she was still. It's been 12 years since my mother died. It's been 12 years since I last saw my father, since I packed up and left Mason County and never looked back. I have a husband now. I have a child of my own, a son who looks just like his father, dimples and all. We live on a farm in the middle of nowhere. Only corn and cows and a couple of dogs and each other. And the things inside me. Wiggling, wiggling, wiggling. Always in my stomach. I know they're there. I can feel them.
Thank you for listening. That was There's Something Inside My Mother.
Don't forget to like the video, it does help to boost the channel.
Leave a comment for the algorithm.
There's new stories every Sunday.
Not to mention the shorts on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
So subscribe.
And ring the bell.
Thanks, guys. And, as always, stay sleepless.